Hi everyone! Welcome back to another Saturday night Factional Fight, or I guess it's Factional Fight plays Wurm Online. My name's Brian, that's my brother Adam, and I'm excited because we get to do our project week. We're gonna go and we're going to start building our labyrinth, like we mentioned in the last episode. And I don't know, what do you think, Adam?
I'm really excited because this is like sort of a throwback. We always love doing these types of projects, and it's going to be a big one. It's going to take a while, and it's exciting to be at the beginning of such a big project.
And I'm excited too, so let's get straight to it. Let's go. We're back, and I don't know if nobody has actually, if you didn't watch the last episode or watch till the end, we are going to rebuild our labyrinth. We back when we first started the game, just to recap, we decided to build a labyrinth as our first project, and we built it, and it was great. And we don't have it anymore, and we decided that we're going to try to reimagine this labyrinth that we built and make it sort of like a public community, I don't know, what would you call it? Just a place where people can go, and
we're kind of looking at it kind of like a playground, a place where people can visit and do the labyrinth for fun. Might be a place where we can hold community events. We're not thinking anything big or grand. We're just thinking of something that would be a lot of fun. A lot of fun for us to build, and a lot of fun for people to do.
Yeah, we basically want to take you guys on an adventure, or whoever wants to go through it, just for a few hours. And I think we successfully managed to do that for the last labyrinth, if anybody actually remembers doing it, if anyone's still around that went through it with us. I think that everyone that I know that went through it actually got a big joy of going through it. Like it felt like you went through it and got an adventure out of it.
I think it was the same for the Autumn Twilight puzzle, which wasn't quite a labyrinth, but more of a puzzle. And the feedback that we got from anybody who went through it was just incredible. Like that, they had so much fun, and we want to recreate that. But now that we have a lot more experience with building, and our first labyrinth was quite a bit rough around the edges. We want to make it nice looking, very, very solid labyrinth. So yeah, that's our plan.
Yeah, so today we're gonna find a location. If anybody, like we said this in the last episode, if anybody's wanting to help us or I don't know, just join in on the fun, just send either of us a message, and you can help out on this community project if you wanna help. But today you saw us leaving our village, and we're gonna go find a location and beat it up.
Now I just want to say something about this road. I just finished this yesterday. We started this road on our very first episode. Yeah, and we didn't get very far, so I just started working on it, and it was kind of a funny thing that happened after I literally got this road connected to the main road. Like, just as that was happening, a traveler was walking along the road and saw me finishing it and was like, "Hey, what's up? Where does this road lead?" And was very curious about the deed. I was really shocked that the moment that I finished it, there was somebody passing by. And I think that's the reason why I wanted to get this thing done so badly. Oh, there's a mess up. Gotta fix that. But yeah, that was the reason why I wanted to get this done, was I wanted to make it so that it was easy to get to our place. Now, this area here was already built by somebody. It's a very rough road. And I think the next step will be to fix it all up.
So, I mean, this is taking a while. Like, no one even built a road towards us. And how long has Xanadu been out now?
It's been out for like 8 months or 9. Well, since the summer of last year.
8 months, and there's not that many roads. Like, there's a lot of open areas still, and I think that goes towards the fact that Xanadu is so giant, and it takes a long time to get to places because of its, like, how big it is. And being big is great, but the first place we ever deeded on or lived on was Deliverance.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, the tiniest deed. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or deed, the tiniest world.
Tiniest server, yeah. Well, it's...
What do you like better? To be on this small road, or the small world, or a Deliverance, or to be on a giant Xanadu-style world map?
There are ups and downs to the Xanadu-style map. I think that the pros outweigh the cons, though, because when you load into Deliverance, let's say for the first time, what you're going to notice is that there's pretty much roads that lead everywhere. Oh, by the way, like, while we're passing this place, I think that we could build a road that leads up here instead. Like, this could be a road, and it can connect to our main road.
Yeah.
And I think that can avoid that whole detour that we just took. But anyway.
Okay. What do you guys think in the chat?
Yeah.
As Adam's talking about it.
I am curious to know what you guys think in the chat. Do you like the big servers like Xanadu, or would you prefer the small ones? But as I said, I prefer... I mean, I'm really enthralled with how large Xanadu is. It makes it feel a lot more like a world, and I remember being back on Deliverance and thinking, I can run from one side of the server to the other in 25 minutes or under. And it just doesn't feel like a world to me. It feels like a tiny little island. And if only this place was, more massive, it would feel a little bit more like a world. And I think that's what Xanadu is. And whether that's a good thing, yeah, bigger is better. More elbow room, says Atomic Ant. And I agree.
I liked the smallness of Deliverance. And I think I liked it because when you start gaining friends around the server, you can actually go and visit them. It's a possibility without needing to spend tons of your time. But on this server, even though, let's say, we have friends on it, I don't have the time to travel like all the way across the server. If they're living all the way there, I'll never see their deed. I'll have to spend an entire day just traveling to their place. But that's my take on it.
So you think big is
good?
Not...
And it's...
Okay.
Well, I like both.
Okay.
I think big works if you have enough players for it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
That's a key point. I think that Xanadu was, to a certain degree, successful in that area because, first of all, it's the most populated server right now, with more than 300 people on at any given time, I'd say. That's not a lot of people, but for Wurm it is, and there are some bustling areas on Xanadu, and then at the same time there are a lot of remote areas And because there's people who prefer either game style, like it's people who prefer being around a lot of people, and there's people who prefer being isolated, it offers, you know, a little bit of both.
Offers, yeah. You have the choice as to, you know, what style of server you like, and I like that.
I also like the idea of, you know, building the infrastructure as well. And I know that part of it is because Xanadu's new, but because it's so large, the infrastructure takes that much longer to make. So what I mean by that is when you're on Delhi, you'll notice that everything is like built. There's no roads needed, and you know, everything, you might need to build a road from your deed to the main highway or whatever. But all the main infrastructure is already in place. Whereas on Xanadu, a lot of the main infrastructure is not only not in place, but it's just, even if it is, it's sort of in rough condition. Like the road that we're on right now is 1 tile wide, you know.
So we lost you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And we're not sure when we got to the marble road. Do we go down the marble road? Or to the desert? We're supposed to go down the marble road.
When you say the marble road, do you mean the round cobblestone road?
The one with marble.
Whoa, did you lose me because you weren't following me, or?
You went too fast.
I went too fast.
You're
supposed to hang a right. You're supposed to hang a right.
Okay, we didn't.
Okay.
Went towards the desert.
Well, I was looking at the map and trying to figure out what is the best path. For those people who are looking at my screen, I was scouting out a little bit of area for this new deed, and I was thinking in this region over here. I don't know, Brian, can you see my screen there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that area is sort of the target. Now we're coming out of this little green area, but the problem is there's a range, not a mountain, but a big hill that is pretty impassable. So the road that we're taking is going to lead us sort of east and south, that goes to this black dot, which I marked off as the road starts here to get to Vrocks. So we're going to come down here, come across the road, and come back up and sort of explore this area here and find the right spot. Now you guys must have gone way off.
The other way, and we're also going really slow.
That's the problem with the wagons, I find, is that you can't see around you. Like if I look off to my side, you can't see to the back, and that was one of the big complaints I had. Here you guys are. And Kaneka has already got a sheep. Very nice.
Yeah.
By the way, how fast is that cart going? Because we kind of whipped together that cart with some young horses. You're missing a horse is probably why.
How am I missing a horse?
I just see 3 horses on your cart.
I only see 3 as well.
You must have left one back at the deed. That's no good. Okay, so if we see a horse around here, which I did see one. We did pass one. If we see another one, we'll grab it.
Oh well.
So that's going to really hinder our... I'm surprised you didn't notice that earlier.
I can't see anything on my screen. So anyway, potentially we're supposed to be going... We found an area. So the first thing that you do when you want a deed is we have to find an area, right? Mm-hmm. What was our plan initially? All I know is that we wanted to find something in the forest, because the first thing that our adventure starts off as, the Labyrinth, is that it's deep within a forest. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So what else do we look for when you're trying to get a deed?
Now, are we talking this particular deed, or are we talking in general for a new player starting? Both. Well, let's start with what we were looking for. I think that's probably a good idea to discuss before we get there and start. We definitely wanted deepen within the forest. We definitely wanted secluded, like away from main areas, but at the same time, we wanted it to be accessible from a starter deed. So like a newbie player can spawn in and sort of find it by following a few signs and some roads.
And we chose Vrock's Landing.
Yeah, we chose Vrock's Landing specifically because it's the closest starter deed to our place. And as well, I like Vrock's Landing because it is one of the less built up ones. What it'll do is give an opportunity to attract players to this area to create sort of a new community. And I know there's like a nice community around Vrock's Landing. I've visited a few times, and it's growing quite nicely. But there's still a ton of space. It's like a huge area with a ton of space, and so I'd like to see it built up a little bit more. So how is it going back there? Are you keeping up or slow?
I can still see you. Yeah. How far do you think this place is?
Look what I found for you.
Oh. Wonderful.
Found a bison.
Is that a bison?
Bison has speed boosts for wagons, so...
Wagons?
Let me see if I can hitch it from standing up here.
You didn't even...
You gotta stop. What the... Who now?
Still way over here.
You are too far away from that. Okay, so you could... We have to disembark, I'd say. Oh, you got it. Good. So now tell me how fast you're going now.
14.
14, that's much better.
Alright. So, I just want to say... it was one of our... Was it last episode? Where we decided to bring up the idea that... that we could interview someone from the Wurm team.
In fact, the Wurm team contacted us when they heard that we're starting up again and asked if we would like to do something collaborative. I said sure, and we sort of had this great idea of bringing them onto our show. And then what happened?
And then all of a sudden we get the news of the week, which is saying that no longer get to have Johan or Red Baron as the community representative anymore. So that was sad news.
That was a very sad news for sure.
What do you guys think in the comments? That's surprising? That was pretty surprising, right?
To me, it was very surprising. I didn't expect it at all, and they almost made it sound like it was a money issue with the game. I don't know exactly what happened, I think it's pretty tight-lipped because we all don't want to hear that Wurm is in trouble in terms of money.
And it all sort of came out of nowhere, especially since you were talking to him maybe a week or two before.
Yeah. I'm thinking here is a good place to cut in. Like, I think on the map we come across a little bit and we're sort of like around here, and we want to go straight north from here.
Straight north from here. I'll just follow you.
Yeah, okay, so how's it going?
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, it was very surprising, given the news that they had just moved offices. Seemed like things were getting bigger and expanding, and sounded great.
Yeah.
I don't know. What was your thought of
What
on
can you
this?
do? Yeah, it was pretty shocking, I think. There was no forewarning. It just sort of came.
Well, you guys
And
want
then
to
we
kill
just all had to digest it.
I know. Do you guys want to kill a greenish scorpion?
A greenish scorpion, sure. Can we kill a greenish scorpion?
Sure.
Let's find out. See if we're good enough for this.
Wow, I have a wagon go through me. Okay. I do not have my target window open.
Can't even hit it.
You know why? We do not. I do not have my weapon equipped. There we go.
I'm hitting it now.
Yeah, greenish are great for skill.
Did it?
I mean, with 3 people, we split the skill and got 0.7 each. Or 0.007. I was out here scouting the area, and it's filled with greenish scorpions. And I was getting like 0.02 skill per kill on some of them, which is very impressive.
Nice. Well, perfect. We're building a place that's filled with greenish scorpions.
Yeah.
Wait for new players.
Newbies, come visit us. Yes. Okay, so
also with that same news.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna continue?
I was just saying, like, just to sort of direct us, on our left is like a hill. It slants upwards, and that's that ridge that I was showing on the map. So I'm keeping that on my left, and we're just going to go north and sort of follow it. I don't know how far we should go, because at some point we hit another road.
You're going northwest. Is
Northwest
that
a little bit. I have this hill on my left. I don't know if you see the hill.
right? Oh, don't see it.
What? It's like
See.
6
I
tiles
see.
away from us. And we're going to hit sort of an upward hill here that we can probably
That's fine.
go around a little bit. Okay, sorry, what were you saying?
I was saying that we also, in that same news announcement, they talked about changing the permission system of a deed. And I thought, we used to run into a lot of problems, especially with creating the last labyrinth. One of which was that there apparently was a bug, and that there was no support if your deed had over 100 gates. Or something like that. I think it was 100. It was the cutoff. And we built an entire gate maze.
Yeah.
And we had so many gates, and it got to the point where, because we went over the 100 limit, it just wouldn't list any permissions for gates. It was just, the window just would not pop up.
Yeah, we broke it, and I think that the devs sort of did a little bit of work on it.
I think they fixed that since then. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. But I think it was because of
funny.
like we sent in a ticket about it, and then it was shortly after that it was being worked on. So I don't think they
wanna
planned
change
on people
the entire
putting
system.
over 100 gates on the deed.
Yeah, so now they want to do an entirely new permission system, and I didn't quite read in depth on what it's supposed to change, but did it sound like you could now just go up to an item and change the permission from, like, the gate? Let's say you walk up to the gate, and then you right-click it. It's like mine doors.
I think they're adding some functionality like that to some things, but I don't think everything. One thing that I like about the sound of the new permission system is that you're going to be able to set people as more than like, now we can set people as friends, or they're not on our friend list. Like, that's it. And then mine doors are relying on your friends. All the writs that you set are relying on, like, depend on friends. But now you're going to be able to set people to be friends, and there's going to be a couple other levels. Like, for example, you can set somebody to be trusted, which means that you fully trust them into, you know, everything that you do. So you can allow into your house only the people that you trust, not necessarily all your friends. By the way, I was thinking somewhere in this area. I don't know how you feel about this. It could literally be anywhere around here.
Deep enough, right?
Sorry?
We went pretty deep.
We are pretty deep. We could come a little bit away.
We're sort of lost here.
We could come away from that hill a little bit so that we're more central. There is a moss patch over here that I saw. I wonder, does trees grow on moss?
Never used to.
Let's see, because if trees do not grow on moss, then that would open up a little landing so we can see where we are. Nice. Okay, so the horses. This is. I was going in this area, and because there's so many cows, bulls, horses, and that sort of thing, I was able to collect like 700 meat in the time that I was just exploring this area. Okay, so this is a small mossy patch. Okay, so let's see if we can get some bearings here. There's a mountain over there. We are somewhere over here, so I'm facing west. So that must be this mountain here. Okay, so
what would you like to do?
here's the thing. What we don't want to do is get too close to this shore, because there's a whole other community along this land, and there's a main road here. So we don't want to plant a deed and then find out that we're like 30 tiles away from the road to the north. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I personally want to be sure. So what I'd like to do is sort of go north, hit the road, and come back and count out some tiles. You know what I mean?
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
I will be here.
Okay. And we can continue our discussion.
Well, I don't even know if you said. Does anybody know the new permission system sound like? You could just go right-click an item, like a fence or a house, and then set permissions to it. Is this the long-awaited change of permission system that I think we were aware of years ago, where they said you could now, you'll be able to change permissions for individual doors inside of a house?
I heard that there's a possibility of that happening, actually. Okay, by the way, I hit the road, and I don't even think I got to 50 tiles. So I don't know if we want to go back a little bit more south.
Okay.
But I have a feeling that 50 tiles is about... I don't know how far we came in from the south road.
That's fine. How about somewhere around here? I'm just gonna stop here. I'm not sure how I'm gonna fly you down.
Okay, well, I'm just coming back along the path. I'm coming along the same path I left, so I think I see Kaneka ahead of me already. Yeah, so I feel like
follow the sounds of me chopping. You know, when I started the game, and we were starting our first place, and we were chopping down the trees for, you know, to make a little area for ourselves to deed, we would always destroy the stump which takes 30 seconds to destroy. Remember we always
Right.
destroyed the stump?
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember.
Before we realized we could just dig once.
Yep.
And it gets rid of all the stumps. And we're like, ugh. That took us a long time to figure out.
Whoa.
Anyway, what do you feel about this area that I randomly stopped at?
I like it. I like it.
Is it too close, too far away from the deed?
You know, you mean our deed? Or the road?
Any places, the roads, civilization.
I think it's far enough away, but not too far, you know? It's hard to say because, you know, despite the fact that Xanadu has like a ton of empty space, because of your mentality goes to, okay, everything's really big, so we want to be very far away, but really, we aren't that far away. But I think it's far enough away that we can create a winding path that leads here. That's, you know, 30 tiles long, let's say, but it makes people feel like they're getting lost in a forest. Now, another thing I was thinking is that we could probably build a forest out of... I mean, now currently this is an apple tree forest. But if we make it out of a forest that's more constricting, what's the word I'm looking for? That you can't see through?
Oh, this seems pretty... Oh. Apple trees seem to be low enough that you can't quite see where you're going.
It's true, but I could still see 20 tiles away maybe. Like through some areas. You know, I can see pretty far. But if you... I don't know if you've ever been to an olive tree forest.
I don't know where we're going to get any olive trees
Well,
to pick sprouts from.
I have an olive tree farm that we can pick sprouts from, that we can start.
Alright, should we spend a few months making an olive tree forest? What do you guys think?
It wouldn't take that long to make an olive tree forest.
You don't think so?
Any other
Build a
trees?
giant olive tree forest.
Any other trees that'll do it for us? What do you guys think? Somebody here says the new Scorp sounds that we're hearing are from Johan. And I think they are. I think he was working on some sounds before he left.
I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention to the sounds.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
fir
a first.
trees.
Mmm.
There you go.
Fir trees are nice because they are low to the ground. And I think that
You can't see anything.
can't see anything. That's a good idea. Problem is I don't have a fir tree forest or fir tree farm.
We don't. Yeah.
Okay, so my feeling is that we should sort of carve out... It's hard to say. This is a little slanted, this land. It's pretty flat, but it's a little bit slanting towards the south.
Is that okay?
It's okay. It's okay. It just means the rock is going to be a little bit slanty, but not too slanty that we can't walk on it.
So here's the biggest problem I've always seen new players have. They can't ever seem to find land to build on.
Mm-hmm.
Because they always look around and say everything's taken. Like none of this stuff is good. They're trying to find perfect land.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to find land that's already sort of mostly flat and is natural, it's untouched. And I don't know why they end up passing up lots of good land because they can't quite see the potential. And do you think that's just a new player thing, or is that like an individual thing? What do you think?
You know, this is a discussion we've had a lot before. I think that that problem was a lot more prevalent on the old servers. You still have that problem here on Xanadu, but less so, because like look at this. Look at this place. I don't know if you can get more ideal in terms of nice land, because
Yeah.
number one, it's apple trees, so they all chop down in one chop. That's like a newbie's dream. If all of these were pine trees, for example, it would be a pain in the butt to get this all clear. The one downside to this
Definitely
place
take
and
longer.
why people don't want to settle in a place like this is because it's not next to water. It's quite a bit inland.
People love that water.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think in the chat? Would you rather build a deed in the forest or next to water, and why? What do you think, Adam?
My personal preference is next to water. Mostly because
like the water?
travel. Travel. You got a boat. You want to get someplace. Boat will tend to get you places, like especially if it's a far trip. As well, if you want to, what's the word? You want to do trade. You want to buy or sell bricks, or whatever. The best way to do that is through with a boat over water. So having that water access is kind of important for that sort of thing. Hey, we got a friend here. I met this was the gentleman who was the person who was walking by the road when I was finishing it up. And I went and visited his deed, and he lives nearby. So it's kind of cool that he's on checking our place out. This close to the road, eh? Yeah. It's tough to find like a place, because we're close to the road to the north and we're close to the road to the south. There's only maybe 100 tiles between the two, so. And if you take a look at the map, we're on this little area that is mostly mountain, right? Like there's a mountain here, mountains here, mountains here. There's this big area is the largest sort of flat area in our general vicinity, because it's impassable to the north. You can't really go this way. I don't know, we could have maybe tried here, but that was farther from Vrock's. We wanted a place that was near Vrock's, but in a forest.
Right. So I would actually rather build in the forest. I always loved our forest deed. The first deed we ever had was deep within a forest.
An olive tree forest, in fact.
Probably and it's an olive tree forest, a natural one, and that's still my favorite spot, I think.
Yeah.
Still remember it fondly. And let's read some of what people have to say. I built in a forest. I prefer to be higher up so I can have an expansive mine network. At the same time, I'm within about 150 tiles from the ocean. If you're a starting player, I would say that you'd be more inclined to settle to water. Chances are they don't have a pendulum already to divine for water. As an older player, you might prefer to settle out in the middle of nowhere, as they can just mail whatever they want to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Prefer near water here, as well as a nice mountaintop deed and cave access. You just said both.
Mountaintop
near water.
Next to water.
A mountaintop deed that's right next to water.
There's actually a ton of that stuff all over the place, because it seems that whoever designs these things, I guess they get a computer to generate them, but whoever designs these servers, for some odd reason, you look at the coast and it's like 80% mountain next to the coast. So if you want the challenge, you can build a deed on the top of these mountains and surface mine a ramp down to the water if you like, or have a mine network that leads down to the water. I don't know.
Yeah. Still not really next to water. So water, because I just enjoy being near the water in real life, and boats, they're selling things. And fishing is nice, also if you can catch big fish. And I'm in the middle of land with a boat tunnel to my deed. That's an option too. I remember back on Delhi, somebody was like dead center, like not near any water. It was like so far away. And they decided, I'm going to make a mine tunnel, go all the way down to the water under my deed, and then just carve a path out all the way to the nearest lake. And that's what they did. Just built, they just had a boat that could go all the way through this mine. It was so far, and they managed to do it. And I don't know, it works for them, I guess. But it seems like some people like to be near a forest, some people like to be near water. More people are liking to be near water, I think. It seems to be that's the case, especially in the game.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to be near water. It probably is an easier starting location for new players.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. What can you do? So how high do you think this is elevated?
You mean how far would it be to go down to water?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I don't feel like we had to climb that much slope in order to get here from our deed, which is on the water. We did have to climb some, but it's not like Indy where you're coming off the shore and next thing you know you see a road that's like 20 slope and it goes for 100 tiles, you know what I mean?
Well,
but we might be...
hopefully it's enough.
We might be a couple hundred. What do you mean enough? Enough for what?
My knees, of course.
We might be 100. Or more.
Yeah.
Slope. Yeah, it's hard to say. Let me see if they're...
Well,
if
we're
they're...
saying 80 range for that area in the chat. What do you think?
Sorry?
It's 60 to 80 range for that area. Is saying in the chat. Mr.
Between
Fix.
the rock and the water? Yeah, might be. That doesn't seem that deep, though. But we'll see. We are quite close to water. If we head north, we'll hit water. Because we're somewhere over here. I'm not sure exactly where, but somewhere over here.
So here, I want to be near water to have a dock shipbuilding area. I want a building like you guys had at Autumn Twilight. Which building did we have at Autumn Twilight?
Which building did we have at Autumn Twilight?
I guess we had some buildings there.
Just a couple.
Maybe talking about the boat building? Yeah, that was a nice building.
Or maybe
I
just
like
the buildings that went around the harbor. I don't know.
We cleared out quite a bit of space. I'm not sure how big should we make this. We don't have to make it that big. I don't feel like we should make it more than 2 silver. Yeah, the shipyard building.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I like that building.
That was a nice one.
How big of a deed can we get for 2 silver a month?
How big of a deed can we get for 2 silver a month? That's a good question.
Do that. And before we had a deed that was sort of long and skinny. That was our maze. So that one side you would have to get through sort of a labyrinth style maze, and then you'd make it through and you would see beyond that the castle or a village and a castle beyond that.
I think we're going to need a little bit more space than this, but that's okay. I think this is good enough for now to start with. So 2 silver a deed. We're talking like if you go 20 by 25, that's exactly 1 silver. Oh, here somebody in chat
So we
just
got
said
40 to 25.
right, 40 to 25. That makes sense. 40 to 25 is a nice size. I would say that would sort of fit our our design structure to have it a little bit longer, like more rectangular than square.
Yes. So sold. I'm sold on 40 to 25.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, okay. Here's a question. The deed token before had to be in the dead center of the deed, right? It no longer has to be that.
Right.
But my question would be, how far can the token be from the center?
I've seen it pretty close. I've
Can
seen
it be the tile just before your perimeter?
I don't think it can be the tile just before your perimeter, because I think the minimum size deed is five tiles away.
5 minimal on one side.
On one side from the token, so I think that's still the minimum. So your token has to be 5 tiles into the deed. But aside from that, I think it can be pretty much anywhere. I don't think we've discussed this, but do you think the deed token location will be important?
I feel like it just should be at the start.
It should be at the start.
What do you think?
Okay, so my next question is, where's the start?
Well, we got a mountain over there. We got a mountain over there.
Like, okay, here, my thinking is, we'll build a winding road that leads from the main road out here, and I'd prefer it maybe came from away from that hill. So, like, maybe coming in from this area out here. Do you know what I mean? So they're not following.
We want it to be an east-west or north-south.
It could start off north-south and sort of turn them around and.
You mean the actual deed?
Yeah, and
lengthwise.
It should maybe come
the deed
in
to be east-west or north-south. The rectangle.
That's a good question. Now, I think the slope is going to play a lot of role in that decision, because it's sloping upwards to the north. Maybe we want to go that way. I don't know. What do you think? A lot of decisions with
I
deed
don't think
making.
it matters too much, eh?
Doesn't matter too much. No.
I'd say naturally I'm thinking the south will be the bottom, the north will be the top of the deed. So
Okay.
the way that the deed worked before is that the first thing, so the furthest to the south, will just be the maze, will just be the labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
And then beyond that to the north, you see the village, and then beyond that, you see the castle.
Right.
And therefore, I am going this way to the south, and we got to count how many tiles did you say? 40. I'm sorry, I just hit my microphone. 40.
Where are you? Yeah, down here. Okay.
And we could start even like, let's say we started where we made this opening.
Okay.
Let's start here at this apple tree, and we got to count 3, 4, 5, 6. This is gonna take a while. 7,
okay.
8. This is riveting.
Yep, I'm following you.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. But this is going to be really long. And we're going to hit the moss.
That's okay. We can change that moss. Moss isn't like tar or anything.
What does it take to change the moss?
I think you can just cultivate it. Let's just test that out.
So now that I'm walking, I sort of just stopped counting. But I'm pretty sure... You said you can just cultivate it?
Let's test it out right now. Yep, you can cultivate it. I don't think you can dig it though, because digging it will just... I think it acts
You get
like
moss.
tar. Yeah, you get moss, and it doesn't even lower. But it allows you to cultivate it. Okay, here's the thing. We're
that's fine.
under 50 tiles from the road to the north. And probably 50 tiles to the road from the south. We might want to consider making the 40 length going east and west.
Okay, if we go east and west, what's the option for which side is what facing what?
You know, really, my feeling is that we sort of have to go into that hill there, or you know, start somewhere out over here and go, and maybe even use that hill as part of the labyrinth.
Okay, so this is what I'll do, is I will start it. I'll start the path, 40 tiles, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna mark it while I'll start marking it.
So you're saying that's the edge of the deed on the north?
Yes. On the west, anyway.
On the west, I mean.
By packing the dirt. How about that? Is that weird?
Nope. That's a normal thing to do. You probably don't
Like
have
an
to...
entire line.
You don't have to pack every
Ugh.
one. Let's just... that'll take a while. And in the end, we're going to dig it all down anyway.
And 8.
Which is the next big
9.
step of this big project. While Brian counts out. The main plan, and this is where we're going to need some help, I think, is we're going to mark out this 40 by 25 and then dig it all down to the rock. Just straight down. How many tiles is 40 by 25?
8. 10. Okay.
That's a lot.
You're the math man.
Tiles. Yeah, I might be good at math, but arithmetic has always been my...
Okay, so this isn't... Like, I'm just gonna do every 10 tiles I'll pack dirt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
My goodness.
Alright, so this is perfect.
Do you think we'll need 40? I guess 40 is good, a good size. Is this 40?
It's 30.
Oh, goodness. So we're going to go
1, 2,
pretty
3,
far,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so this is 40.
Alright, so this is a interesting length. Okay, so I like it. The only thing is that we're going to be
Close to
blocking
anything.
we're going to be blocking any north-south passage between here and that hill. Which I think we should. We should sort of direct traffic towards this area, like, you know what I mean? And so when people are coming in, if they're off the beaten path, they're going to run into our deed. But if they come along the path, they'll come around our deed, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is pretty far out. Okay.
Progression, right?
Yeah. And you want it near the start, the the token, right?
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So, sort of make this box here. And here's something that you could say. There was a whole line of thinking that here I am. This is how I'm doing it. How do you plant a deed? You stand on the tile that you want. And then you just say, I'm going to start a deed here, and then you say how large you want it. It puts those markers down,
Right, well,
and then you have to walk around and see it.
Why don't we do it? Why don't we do it here? Because we're going to...
But the question is,
Okay.
is that the way that you like? Does that seem right? Do you like that idea? Or there are games that you start the deed, you say, I'm going to start here, and then it sort of zooms out, shows you the map of the area, and then you can sort of maybe highlight the sections that you want, and then plant the deed that way.
Nah, I like this way. Because, and we'll see it in a second, but it'll allow us to put down those deed markers, and then we literally have to walk around and sort of see, is this good? Is the deed markers, you know... And it feels more immersive, like it's us planting the deed as opposed to us zooming out. Like that seems a little bit far-fetched that we're able to zoom out if we were. Okay, one thing that I know that we're gonna have to do before planting this deed is kill everything in it. So if you see a mob,
I say we map out everything, get rid of all of the trees, and then we should be able to see everything that we need. I also would want to do, I guess, one last look as to how far we are from everything. 1, 2, 3.
so we have some new people in the chat who are asking, what's the project?
8, 9, 10.
So just to recap, what we're doing is we are recreating our first deed. Not recreating it precisely, but our first deed was a labyrinth. And it has long since decayed. And
It's gone.
Yeah, and with our newfound knowledge about the game and our veteranness, we are going to build a bigger and better version of it. Yeah.
Sort of. We'll
Sort
just
of.
build a version of it here on
A
Xanadu
version,
that people
right.
can come and visit,
Right.
and hopefully have fun in the process making it. Now, the Labyrinth was based off of the movie Labyrinth. So if you've ever seen the movie Labyrinth, then you sort of know what the adventure that we're going to make entails.
Mhm.
Alright, so how is it looking?
It's looking okay. Are you marking out the border? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Because I'm just chopping.
I'm sort of marking out the border. Just the corners. On this side, anyway.
Now, from the center, like from that packed dirt that you packed, did you just count 12 off of there? Because like 12 one way, 12 the other way will make 25.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I think. According to my mathemum skills.
LD Rancer is saying that we're close to a deed.
Well, that's why we map it out and then we check.
Yeah. In terms of nearby deeds, I feel that as long as I don't know, as long as there's a buffer region between. When you say in shot, I mean, I'm wondering if is that within local? Like if somebody was on there, would they be in local? I don't know.
Probably. Local's pretty large.
Local is
80
pretty
tiles,
large.
I think.
80 tiles.
Is it 80 tiles still?
It's true. We might be in local at the roads from here, you know?
I think that's fine.
I think it's fine too. I mean, ideally we want it isolated, but really, as big as Xanadu is, it's very hard to get isolated because of all the water and mountains. And there's very little, and I think they designed it that way on purpose, to sort of create pockets of community. And then they create
Like
pockets of isolationness. Like our deed is probably as isolated as you can get. And I didn't realize that at first. I kind of like it the way it turned out. But if you just take a look on the map, this is where our deed is. And to the north, like this used to be impassable. Somebody since created a road, but before it, you couldn't pass that. This red, too steep to get a cart through. It's impassable. So all of this, and you can't get across here. So all of this, the only way out at the beginning was through this green. And that was the road that we took. And before it was a road, it used to be this really, really steep, barely passable through with a cart. And that was the only way to get out to Vrock's. So yeah, it's sort of the way that the server's built.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Nope. We were lucky on Xanadu, or not on Xanadu, on Delhi to find the place that we did, and it was like when we say isolated, it was way more isolated than this, and it was because it was in the center of a olive tree forest, and people, for some odd reason, don't like to settle near olive tree forests.
Yeah.
And we're just like, wow, there's a little pond here in the middle of this olive tree forest. Let's plant a deed here.
I was surprised that there was like no remains of a deed anywhere within that vicinity. It was such a perfect area. Had a little pond.
There was remains of a little settlement.
Yeah, but now looking back at it, we know how tiny that was.
Right, it was like a little flat area. It might have been 20 tiles in total. Yeah.
So, I know we answered the question on what we want to start our deed, what area we want. But let's just talk about, like, if a player just first starts the game, what are they looking for?
Right. Well, there's a few things that are really handy to have when you're starting a new deed. The first would be access to water. Because right off the bat, if you're a new player, you're probably not going to be creating a pendulum to divine water tiles. That's probably not
You're
the first
saying
thing that you're doing.
straight to water.
I mean, it's not straight to water. Just have access to water. Be able to, once you have a cart with horses, be able to, be in a place where you can travel to water at least, so that you can fill up your barrels and bring it back to your deed, sort of thing. I think that's a lot of the reason why most people flock to the shore or to a lake. Sorry?
Think so?
Yeah. I mean, without water, your stamina is gonna go slow, so it's really beneficial to have water. Another thing that you're gonna want is iron, or access to a rock face even, just so you know you can get that material, because you're going to need a lot of iron for all sorts of different things.
You know what? I mean, they're saying as a new player, you would want to build or stay near a guard tower, because then you could run mobs there. But remember when we started, we did not have access to a guard tower, so what did we do? We ended up building this sort of long or like square. There's a square enclosure just made out of wood fences or something.
Yeah.
And there was a gate on one side and a gate on the other side. I can't remember. It wasn't even that big. It was how many tiles?
It might have been 5 by 5 or something like that.
5 by 5. It was a tiny enclosure, and what we learned was that we were pretty much an expert of being able to guide animals around to one side and then run straight to the other side, and by the time we were on the other side and we exited the gate, the animals stopped following us. We what would you call that? Train them to one side.
Yeah.
We got really good at that because we didn't have a way to just bring animals to a guard tower. So I remember once we had so many animals just in that area, and they were all sent to the gates, all sent to that fence area, and we just ran them to one side and then ran to the other side of the gated area, and they all just stayed at the other side.
Yeah, good
that was
times. Fun. I mean, a guard tower is nice to have, but it's not necessary. You can outrun anything. If you have water nearby, somebody mentioned you have water nearby, you can get rid of mobs that way. It is handy, and it does make it easier. But who wants easier?
I remember training. Yeah, there's some animals that can't go into water, like spiders. So there's this one place where we found, and at the time this was amazing for us. We found. Remember when there were such things as cotton rags or something? Cotton, what were they called?
Yep, rags.
Yeah, and we found 300 or something, and we were thinking as a new player, 300 rags, we could bandage ourselves
forever
till the end of our days.
Yeah.
And
it was like a huge find for us as newbies.
Yes, and we were right next to water, and I believe 2 spiders got on us, and we ran out into the water.
Right.
And we basically spent the entire night trying to get away from these spiders.
That's right.
Training them to one side, going to the other side, corpse runs. It was a fun night.
Yep. It's funny how we look back on those nights as being fun.
Yes. The unrest train. Yeah, EverQuest is showing for us. But isn't it showing for everyone? What do you think? What do you think of Sony selling their online games to whatever that company is? Investment firm. Now EverQuest isn't an SOE title.
Yeah.
It's now, and what did they call themselves? They call themselves Daybreak Games. And I think I heard an explanation of why they called themselves Daybreak Games. Something about developing games up until, all through the middle of the night, how dedicated they are. But doesn't it just sound like they break games? They set themselves up so that they have the worst name possible. Every time that they crash, Every time they patch a game and it's like
It sucks.
horrible, it's all gonna be because of their
They break.
name.
Yeah.
They break.
That's awesome.
They really set themselves up for that, huh?
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see how that pans out. I mean, everybody complained about Sony. And I think
The one thing that they did was at least kept mostly all their games around.
mostly.
Mostly.
Except for the one that you were playing.
Yeah. That was like, you know, probably they already knew they were going to sell
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah. So, if you see by chance any fir trees that have sprouts on them, we should probably pick it, eh? Or maybe just leave fir trees. I should have left that fir tree that I chopped down.
Ah, yeah. We have no fir trees here.
Right,
So
no
if
fir
anybody
trees.
knows on Xanadu where there's a giant fir tree forest, or if anybody has like 50 fir tree, I don't know, sprouts, that'd be nice. Send them over our way. We're apparently building a fir tree forest.
Or olives. I'm still down for olives.
Or olive. Or maybe a combination of both. Who knows?
Or a combination of both. That's actually a good idea. Just pick the
Did we
two
even
trees that
answer-
block the view the most and just plant them all over the place.
Yeah, we just want it to feel like you have no idea how to get to the labyrinth.
Right, Bramson
This-
asks, what's good about fir trees? So the plan is that the entire surrounding area is going to be completely covered in trees that block your view. So that finding the place is going to be a little bit challenging. But there's going to be a little winding path that leads through this forest. So along the way, you're traveling along this little path and you can barely see anything, and you're turning this way and that way, and you feel like you're getting turned around. And then all of a sudden it opens up, and there's the labyrinth in front of you. Willows is a good one. Willows might be a little too much, though. I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, willows are... Yeah, I don't mind willows. The only problem is that you can't plant trees around willows. There's like a 3x3 tile area around it.
Right. As well, we want it so that when you're walking along the path, you can see sort of ahead of you, and willows will just completely block everything. But we want to make it so you can't see to the left and to your right of you when you're along that path, you know?
Yeah, we're all just gonna go and extinct the willow trees.
Actually, our deed that we are on now, it was just filled with willow trees when we got there. And it was very, very hard to visualize the deed. It was a really challenging deed. Part of me, I wish, is that we were filming during that time, because there were tons of challenges. Kaneka will remember, and willows were one of the big ones. We had to get rid of all the willows. So my feeling is that we should plant the deed. I know that we're still chopping, and there's still a lot of chopping to do, but for the sake of our viewers, we should probably do something more exciting than just chop, chop, chop.
Well, you can... I'm trying to figure out how far everything is. I'm going to take a horse, I think.
Okay.
And we're gonna take a look and see what we got here.
Because
So, where
I
are
could-
these roads?
if you go straight north,
Wait a second. Huh?
you know, the one problem with not I don't want to say it's a problem because it's not a problem at all, but in terms of live streaming this game is that it's real slow. Things take a lot of time and a lot of planning, and I remember the first deed that we did, we waited, I don't know, a couple weeks before actually deeding the place. It just takes a lot of planning. And we're talking about just coming here, chopping some trees, and just plopping a deed down all within a couple hours of play. And that's kind of... it's a little bit reckless, I think.
There's no way.
Because, you know, we'll plant the deed and then 2 days later we'll realize something that makes us regret planting the deed that instant, you know. This is quite a bit bigger than I thought it was going to be.
9, 10. It only looks bigger now. Once we start planning, we're gonna wish we had more space.
Right, that always is the case.
Doesn't that always happen?
Always is the case.
Yeah, this is... oh, wow. I feel like I just planned that out wrong. Oh, I couldn't have. And this one, the tile that I need. So I'm going to try to build sort of a perimeter of sorts around the area. Then our plan would be to actually travel around and seeing how close we are to the roads. And then, once we confirm that everything is okay, we plant a deed.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want a deed? For anyone that doesn't know, I don't know who's watching, maybe you're just started playing the game. Why would you want to plant a deed?
There are quite a few benefits that come along with deeds. That's for sure. You know, there's an old Wurm adage that says, deed it or lose it. So, stuff on your deed is pretty well protected against theft, as long as your permissions are set correctly. And so, that's a main reason. Although, houses do a similar thing. If you build a house, you can pretty much that'll protect a lot of your stuff as well. So there's other benefits to deeds. The main one that comes to mind
If you're...
is that you
Yeah.
own the land. Somewhat.
What does that mean to me? Why do I want to own the land?
Well, let's say you just decided, I don't want to build a deed, I'm just going to build a house, and that'll protect my stuff. Okay. The problem is that somebody can come along and plant a deed right next to your house. They can't deed over your house, but they can plant a deed so that the deed comes right up against your door. And then they put their perimeter over your house, causing your house to no longer be able to be repaired. And what else? It increases the decay rate on the house so that your house is going to, you know, go down quicker. Truly, if that house is not on a deed, it's not really yours.
That's not very nice, though.
You're right, it's not very nice, but that's sort of the reality of the situation. It's not unheard of, let's put it that way. It's not unheard of for that to happen.
I see. But, okay, let's say you're a new player. And you're starting the game, you like the game a lot. Do you think that that player should start a deed or join a village?
That really depends on the person.
What do you guys think in the chat?
My personal feeling is that it really depends on the person. And the reason why I say that is because when we started, we didn't join a deed.
What depends on the person, though?
So one thing that I see a lot of people encountering is they come join the game, they want to go it alone, but then they find that it's too either challenging or too grindy or too something, and then they quit because going it alone was not good for that person. For a lot of people, the social aspect of this game and the social aspect of multiplayer online games in general is why they play. And for those people, joining a deed would be the best, because you always will have people around, especially an active community. You know, you have people around, and so it's really a matter of preference. For us personally, we wanted the challenge of, and we were together, so we had it was us two, and at the start it was a couple others, and because we had a small group, going it alone seemed to be the most fun option. You know, we're gonna be able to survive and do this on our own, and that was the challenge ahead of us, and we sort of lived up to that challenge. We loved that challenge.
We did. Yes, I would agree. Not everybody's up for that challenge. A lot of people do want to join villages. Or a lot of people try to start their own deed that should have joined a village.
Mm-hmm.
How about all the people that join a deed or create their own deed and then complain that, like, the first thing that you do is you run out and you go, I'm going to go find wilderness, I'm going to create a deed. And I'm going to go in the middle of nowhere and I'm going to be a one-man show or a one-woman show and create a cottage or something next to water. And then the next thing they know, they're complaining that they no one plays the game. They log in and no one's around them.
Right.
To talk to.
Now, for that person, I would say that if you're going to build a deed or plant your own deed, research the area. You know, spend a little bit of time just playing the wandering adventurer for a little while, maybe a week or two, where you just meet people and you go to visit other people's deeds. And like, if you want that social aspect, you explore and find those pockets of communities where there's people there and people who are active, and you want to sort of spend some time there for a couple weeks just to see play habits. Are these people on all the time, or during my playtime, or do they play during the same time zone as I am? And then when you've found the right group of people, then you sort of find an area that's near them that's open, or you know, chances are those people know of a good spot to deed, and if you become friends with them, then they'll let you in on some nice spots. Like around us, for example, we have a few really nice spots. Still some prime real estate around us, I would say, that for some reason nobody seems to be deeding there. I haven't...
We have some nice neighbors now.
Yeah, we have some nice neighbors, for sure.
I think, I mean, most of them are nice. I mean, there's one really bad one. You know who you are. I don't have to say your name. You know who it is. But everyone else is, like, nice, right? Right. Anyway,
Yep.
So, like, we just need to find, you know, you said there's open areas near us, and I'm sure that goes for lots of villages.
Right.
That there's probably, especially if you get to know your area, you're going to get to know your area. You're going to build your deed, and like around your deed, you're going to know like tons of nice spots. You sort of explore, and you know, like all the cool spots for all the good let's say ores.
Right.
All the good spots that you would have deeded if you didn't deed that spot. You know how
Right.
you deed an area and then you go out and you're like, oh, I should have deeded here, but I don't want two deeds and whatever. I'm good enough here. So you sort of keep that spot in mind. So, and I remember we used to do this. We used to like save spots for people that we liked.
Right. Right.
We'd be like, that spot's good, but we only are going to tell people that we really like about that spot. Uh, and so, because you want to build a good community around you, and I think that works. I think if you have a community around you that's actually, what would you call it? Not poisonous.
Uh-huh.
That you enjoy the game a lot more, because this game is more enjoyable with community. It just is.
Hmm.
I know there's a lot of people that don't like. You say this lightly. People. There's a lot of people that don't like people,
Right.
and they play this game and they want to be by themselves. But even though you can play by
Wait, wait,
yourself
wait.
and still have
Are
neighbors.
you cultivating this? Sorry, I'm about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I decided, due to the level of, I didn't say anything. I decided, due to the level of this side
Yeah.
being completely going uphill,
You
that we
want.
can do one tile, one tile more out.
Okay, I see it. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm correcting my mistake.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry to interrupt. I was just packing it back.
Okay,
I
I'm
was like,
done.
wait, are
I'm
you
done.
cultivating?
I'm done. I think everybody was sort of half and half on, joining a village, starting a deed. I think no matter which option you choose, be in a nice area with nice people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That makes all the difference.
It does. Alright, so as I fix my mistake here, what do we got? That means I gotta go back to the other side and extend it one tile. So I'll do that. Actually, what I'll do is I will, now that we sort of have a rough idea of where this deed is going to be,
Mm-hmm.
where are the roads, did you say? Are there only two roads? One to the south, you said, and one to the north? And that's
Right.
it?
The main road that's to our south that we came up. And you see, if you take a look to the south from our place, you see this big hill there.
Yeah.
The main road is before that hill.
Okay, there is a deed here. It's far enough away, though.
Okay.
Applewood Manor. Oh, it's a nice place. Called Applewood Landing. Right next to the road. So it's right next to the road. That's not bad.
Okay. Let's see, how many tiles would we be away? 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, this is good enough. So I'm pretty sure that we got to the area. We've cleared out most of the land. We're sort of building a perimeter around, seeing how things are. I think we're far enough away from the roads, but we're not too close. We're not too far.
Right.
Like we're just right.
I think so too, especially for the area that we're in here. This road is quite the main highway, and
Yeah.
we're about 60 or 70 tiles away from it.
Is there anything to the east?
No, it's all apple forest to the east. It's very natural.
Huh. So we're okay. What is left to do? We found an area, so let's recap. We found an area, cleared the area of trees, and potentially mobs. We cleared, we established the perimeter. Now what do we do?
It's a good question. Plant the deed?
I guess it's planting deed time.
I mean, one other thing that we possibly
Sheep
could do is
Mhm.
build a pen.
And why do we need a pen?
To put all our wagons and stuff in. Oh, you know what I forgot? Is the locks for that pen. So I have a feeling we're going to have to ride home tonight.
Okay. Let's plant the deed.
Let's plant the deed. So we want... Did you map this out to be the center still? Is that how it's happening? 1, 2, 3, 4...
Oh.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good, yes, it is the center. So if we're going to use your...
Oh.
If we're going to
There you
use
go.
your path along the... What is this? Gotta get my bearings on this new place. I guess this is the north. You put a packed dirt along the north.
I did.
And it looks like you counted 12 tiles from there.
I did.
And then from this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8.
As you count that, I will follow you, and we eventually will make it to, I believe... Wait, this can't be it. We're one tile short.
I
Is
know,
that right?
I counted 39. 39
Yeah, because I
here.
haven't extended this side yet.
Right. So let's, because you moved it up one, so let's chop this tree down. Pack this tile. Okay, so this will be the center entrance. The center of the deed.
So 5 tiles in.
So if this is the edge, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think it has to be the 6th tile in, right?
Really?
Well,
Everyone's saying 5.
because when it's 5 tiles, it's 5 tiles from the token. Right?
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah. So it's the 6th tile.
Right, so the minimum width of the entire deed is 11. 5 tiles to the right, 5 tiles to the left, and then the tile that the token is on.
You are right.
Okay, so I've created a D-stake. I'm going to use it. Oh, wait, no, I cannot.
How do you create a deed stake? I never actually made one before.
Deed stake is created from a shaft with a carving knife. You're going to have to do this because I
Or you give me...
am already the mayor of a deed.
Alright, give me the... Wait, what happens if you give me the ownership of the other deed?
That's true. We could do it that way. Then you become the mayor.
You transfer ownership, and I become mayor. Can you plant a deed right away?
That's a good question. I think we're about to find out.
And which deed is it that you're giving me?
I'll be giving you Winter's Night, which I will want back at some
I'm
point or
gonna be
another.
the
So we're gonna have to
mayor
do some deed
of Winter
swapping.
Night, huh?
I think we're gonna have to do some deed swapping later.
Yes.
Wasn't thinking this one quite through. Okay, let's hope that this all works out properly.
It'll work out. What's the worst that could possibly happen to
All right.
Winter Night?
It becomes a
Hit the accept
democracy.
Button. Hit the accept button. Don't think about it. Just hit it.
All right, here we go.
All right, there you go.
Wow, there's like no indication that I am no longer the mayor or anything like that. Very uneventful transfer of power. Okay, so let's see if this all worked out. Very good. Welcome to the settlement application form. There is a lot of reading to do, so I'm going to read it for us. Blah 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 blah. Okay. I wanted to go
on your way.
5 east and 34 south. Is that right? That'll be 39
That makes sense.
plus the tile
5
that I'm on.
34 south. That's 40.
Right, and then 12 and 12,
What's the tile?
the north and south. So I'm going to survey that area, and you're going to tell me
How it worked? Okay,
how it worked.
this side's okay. I'm gonna travel. Maybe you should travel around.
Yeah.
You travel around,
So let me get back to
and
my horse.
see how the corners look compared to what we've been doing.
Yeah. Now, just for those who are just wondering what's going on here, maybe you've done this before. Maybe you weren't sure what was going on when you did it. I sure wasn't.
Maybe you never started a deed.
Yeah. I first had to stand on the tile that I wanted the deed token to be on, and I got to that point where I chose the size of the deed before I moved. Once I set that, then it sets these deed markers, and my hope is that my calculations were correct, that they're along the path that I wanted. Oh, what is that token doing? Oh, I see, because the path had to be extended. Gotcha. Okay, so the deed's coming along here. That's perfect. And then it's coming along this path, which is perfect. I'm just going to make sure that the west side is good.
Yeah. So just as you're doing that, when we first started, when we found the location of our first deed, and the story goes is that we traveled everywhere to try to find a location for our first deed.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't find any place, and when we finally found this one place, it took us a week, maybe more, of just like, and we were playing a lot.
We literally
We traveled around all of Delhi.
And I'm not even exaggerating. We literally took a rowboat and went all the way around the entire circumference of Delhi and found that the entire shoreline was taken. Every piece of shore,
Yeah, so
completely taken.
true. And then we traveled inland, and we sort of traveled everywhere. And this is as new players. We had no skill. It was the first thing that we did. We had a little bit of skill, but not really. We were a new player.
Mm-hmm.
We borrowed that rowboat.
Right.
I remember that.
We borrowed it.
I'm sure that the owner wasn't missing it.
Right.
But anyway, we traveled everywhere, and we finally got to that place, and everyone loved the area. It was completely just forest, olive tree forest all the way on one side, and the other side was just forest. Everywhere was forest, like for quite a while, and which is strange on Delhi, to tell you the truth, because it's such a tiny area. But then we were cleaning off the area like we were doing now, and sort of building our little place, and we were wondering how long should we take to invest in the game to buy. At the time, you had to buy 10 silver. I think it was 10 silver to buy a deed form, and then
Right.
bring it all the way back. And how long can we wait before we did that? And we were sort of scared that somebody will come and just deed over it
Right.
within the few days or something that we were doing that. Remember? And there was one day where we were playing, and all of a sudden, this perimeter, like the yellow perimeter.
Right.
You can see, where are the perimeter?
I just put them down.
They're there. The perimeter. What do you call them?
Deed markers
Deed
or whatever.
stakes.
Deed stakes.
Deed markers, survey markers. They just went through the middle of our entire deed.
Right.
Like somebody was currently planting a deed.
Right. Somebody was
And
just
we
messing
got
around
so
with
scared.
the area. Like somebody was like going through the settlement options and just typing in random numbers, I guess.
Yeah, it ended up
And-
that somebody typed in like the largest perimeter they could possibly type in just to see, and it like encompassed this giant area of Delhi.
And it was
like a
going
big
straight
square.
through our deed. Straight through.
Straight through the
And-
deed, and we, as new players, we had no idea. We were just like, "Oh my God, somebody's trying to take our land!"
And it wasn't deeded. Like it wasn't our deed yet. It was just the planned area. So we had built up, and we were like, okay, should we deed or should we not? And then this happens, and it's just like these markers are going through our place, and we're like, what is going on? You know, one thought that went through my mind was that it was like the game making us spend money. You know, like let's just put some deed markers through these newbies' place, and then they'll buy some they'll buy some silver so that they'll plant a deed.
It worked.
It worked.
It worked.
Because
We
right
got
away,
so scared we just went out.
and we had to
We gotta get
ride,
this place.
or not even ride. We had to walk all the way back to
We had to run.
to Green Dog. We ran right back to Green Dog, got a settlement token or a settlement form, ran all the way back.
Yeah.
That was an event. Because we're newbies and there was a lot of forest.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of nowhere, right? So there's a lot of natural forest to get through. Yeah,
Right.
it was a rough time. But yep. I don't regret it though. Not at all. It just sort of kicked our butts into gear.
Right.
Okay, so
And,
my
we
guess
haven't
is that
looked
we
back
would
since.
like this to be called puzzles for old time's sake. What do you think?
And for everyone, yeah, that was our deed name, Puzzles. Why did we choose puzzles? Puzzle. Uh, for anybody who knows where that quote's from.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right, so we can't change that name once we do it. So is that what we want, or do we want something like Labyrinth?
I say this time we could do Puzzle Labyrinth.
Puzzle
What do you think?
Labyrinth.
Spell Labyrinth correctly.
Labyrintth. Am I okay there?
You are correct.
Okay. Puzzle Labyrinth.
All you have to do is just type in Labyrinth into Google, and if you get images of David Bowie, then you know you were right.
Okay, so Puzzle Labyrinth. We're gonna leave it like that. Or Puzzles Labyrinth? No, Puzzle. Yeah, okay, Puzzle Labyrinth. Yeah, I'm not paying 5 silver to change it. That's a little bit obscene.
There we go.
5
You
silver
ready?
for a mistake that we could think. Just double check. Are we good? Puzzle Labyrinth. I still think I have another.
Labyrinth.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, we have another form to go through. I do not want any guards. Notice how it sets it automatically to 1. to get you to pay that.
Would you want guards?
That's a good question.
Yeah, what do you guys think in the chat? When you started a deed, if you did you get a spirit guard? And why did you get one, or why didn't you get one? Is it worth it? Is it worth the 1 silver? I don't know. Let's not do it for now. We can always add one later.
13 silver to found the deed. Wait. The full cost of founding this deed will be 10 silver. The cost of the deed form will cover up to 7 silver. That's the old deed form method. The rest will go to upkeep. Oh, 13 silver will be taken from your bank account because it's 10 silver for the tiles and 3 silver needs to go into upkeep. So 13 silver. That's okay. 13 silver is fine with me. Ta-da! The settlement of Puzzle Labyrinth has been founded by Griffith.
On the day of awakening, in week 2 of the Snake Starfall in the year of 1047, the settlement of Puzzle Labyrinth has just been founded by Griffith.
And we got a whole bunch of grats in freedom, so thank you.
Did such an amazing job that everyone's congratulations.
You know, that was one of the things that I found, like, even way back when we started. That was a huge thing that set this game apart from others, is that every time that somebody founded a settlement, everybody in Freedom Chat would congratulate that person. And it was I feel like it's just a tradition that has gone on for I don't know how long, well before we started playing for sure. And it was just one of these things that, you know, I was very, it drew me into the game, that the little community aspects, like the little things about the community. Very interesting. Yeah, now I'm getting tells saying congrats. That's just sort of the thing. I remember even our first deed that we planted when we were completely like just nobodies and had no place in, like, nobody knew of us even as players. And we planted the deeds and
didn't have any friends.
No friends, didn't know anybody. We had just been fresh into the game like a couple weeks. Planted the deed and people were congratulating us and sending us tells, and it was just like, wow, this is crazy. There's our deed token.
You know, they're asking if we need any help. It was quite the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think that made us, like, I'm telling you, it's the community. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh?
I'm no longer allowed. You know what just happened? I'm no longer allowed to cut trees, to do anything on this deed. Somebody else owns it. There's this foreign person named Griffith that's saying.
Okay, so for those people who want to see this, this is how I would deal with this situation. You know, I want my friends to be able to help me do stuff on this deed. So this is
how do you add me to this deed so I can do stuff, but not just open it up for everybody?
And my feeling is that this is all going to change with the new permissions, but this is how it is now. It always seems to be the case. We show stuff that gets changed like right after. Okay, so this is the manage roles window. It's kind of daunting at first.
To me, it seems like all you should do is you should just go open up the deed permissions, or maybe even what I think should happen is that the mayor has the permission. So therefore, I should be able to go up to you and be like, I would like permission to do something. And then you just right-click me and add me to a permission.
So what I feel is going to happen is that you're going to be able to set a permission for trusted people. And you're going to be able to set a permission for friends. That's my hope. And then that way, I can go up to somebody and say, oh, you are a new friend of mine. I want to allow you to come onto my deed and maybe just mine or just some basic things. So I say, okay, you can cut some trees down and cut old trees, but I don't want to let you destroy buildings and that sort of thing. Like I can choose, and then I can say all friends are allowed to do these things, and then I can just add you as a friend. And I think that'll be great, a great addition if that's how it works. At least that's how it sounds. But now if you wanted to let somebody specific do these things, I would have to set a new profile for that settlement. So along this thing here, I'll have to type in the name of your settlement, Winter's Night.
Yes.
Whoops, I pressed
That
enter.
is my deed.
Manage roles. Let's just see what it did. It save that? It didn't even save that. Okay, so... Oh, no, I did save it. Sorry. And I'm going to allow you to do lots of stuff, like farm, add villagers. Is that right? Allows you to
Be
invite
okay with chopping down trees?
non-citizens. Sure, that's fine. Mine, terraform, pass gates, lock gates, whatever, attack people and stuff, fish, pull, push and turn, diplomat, which allows alliance stuff, map, which I think allows you to add and village annotations, lead, pick up, tame. That was to get that permission wasn't there for so long, and that was the worst. I'm so glad that they added that.
You're right.
Load,
Push,
butcher,
pull, or move.
attach locks, and pick locks. Sure. Okay, so I'm gonna let you do all those things. Let's just make sure that a build. I should let you build as well, right? And maybe destroy buildings.
Yes, so.
I trust you enough to destroy buildings. You don't need to do this stuff.
Trust you enough.
Okay. Now you should be able to do stuff.
I will not abuse your trust.
Oh, they put a little warning here.
Alright, I can pack.
The destroy buildings option is enabled. Enables theft. Make sure that you want this role to be allowed to destroy buildings since it enables theft.
I guess it does. Anyway, so there you have it. We have a deed.
Mm-hmm.
You saw how to do permissions there for a bit. We ventured out into the wilderness. We found a place. We cleared the area, chopped down some trees, mapped out a perimeter, placed down a deed, and called it Puzzle Labyrinth. And we were on our way to building a project. And if anybody wants to help us build this project, if you just want help, we're probably going to need all the help we can get. Especially bricks and mortar. We're going to be building a lot of buildings. And a lot of... Who knows what we're going to build? We're going to have to design this place based off of our 40 by... Did we say 25? Big deed. We'll have to open up some deed planners and do that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, and anyone can come, and I think we're going to make this as open as possible for anyone to come and help if you'd like, for as long or as little as you'd like.
Hopefully the new permissions will allow
nobody
me to
ever
do that
wants
easily.
to. You think so?
I hope.
Who knows? We'll find out soon. Hopefully they come into the game soon. But with that, I think we're going to end for this week. What do you think?
I think this is a good place to end.
Yes, so thank you everyone for watching us start a new deed, Puzzle Labyrinth. And
I think we'll probably be back here next week.
What do you think?
Yeah,
but we'll definitely be doing updates from here and showing the progress every week. So right now it's just sort of, wilderness, a mess, and we'll see what it's like next week. So until then, thanks for watching, guys. Take care.